All right, we are back. Final segment with Richard Gage, and we were just discussing the explosions recorded at Building 7. What do you have to say about that?
Well, we have, I'll just give you a couple examples. Daryl, a medical student, says that he's heard a sound of a clap of thunder, a shock wave ripping through the building, windows busting out, and then Building 7 starts to come down. He's interviewed that evening after the collapse of Building 7. That's pretty extraordinary. It goes on and on and on. Now, we talked about Barry Jennings, who says he heard explosions blowing him inside the building well before the building came down. Mm-hmm. But explosions going off. Why are explosions going off? There's not that many fires. And I think there was some smoke in the building. But this is, I don't know, about noon, was it, Jason?
Yeah, it was actually before noon. He said it was actually before either tower had collapsed, so it was before 10 a.m.
So I don't even know what fires were doing in that building, if there were. Certainly, what are the explosions doing? Michael Hess, as you mentioned, Giuliani's attorney, talked about explosions in the building, too. And Craig Bartmer with the New York Police Department says, I think I know an explosion when I hear it. This is when the building comes down. He's going, boom, 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 boom. He hears again and again and again. He says there's a lot of eyewitnesses talking about explosions. Then we have Kevin McPadden, who says it was like the ground rumbling. You wanted to grab onto something. He says this is not like floors falling on themselves. This is like a boom, you know. He's just totally describing that. In fact, he heard a countdown prior to this at the line where they were holding people back from a few blocks from Building 7, and it was a Red Cross worker holding on to the radio. 3, 2, 1. And then the guy actually says, just run for your life. So I guess people started running, and then he said, you heard this loud explosion. And the building came down after that.
In these final couple of minutes, why don't you tell people about the conferences that you've attended where you have a booth and these architects and engineers walk up to you and you explain to them what happened, and most of them don't even know that a third building went down that day, and you have one coming up where there are going to be over 700 architects and engineers attending, correct?
Yeah, we put up some very professional-looking banners at the booth with all of the evidence displayed, and we had these two widescreen flat panel monitors, one showing Building 7 coming down continuously with additional evidence like these explosions in the molten metal and the steel that FEMA found, etc. The other monitor showed the Twin Towers being very explosively demolished, just the opposite of a classic implosion. Well, these architects came by, and we're asking them, what do you think about this? What does this look like to you? Go, oh, controlled demolition, seen it all the time. Well, did you know this was the third high-rise to come down on 9/11? What? No, I had no idea. Nobody knows about Building 7. It's uncanny. They ask about it. We say, yeah, this is 5:20 the afternoon of 9/11. The official story blames 8 to 10 small fires for this. Do you think that's possible? No way. So we take them through the rest of the evidence, the molten metal, the sounds of explosions. They understand that, you can't have a building come straight down smooth and symmetrical without blowing out at least all 24 columns with it synchronistically timed floor by floor. They end up signing our petition right there. We signed up 60 architects and engineers that weekend. We're going to hope to get up to 100 this weekend, mid-July in Washington, D.C. at the AIA conference. We have been allowed to come in and are being treated seriously now by the American Institute of Architects. In fact, we've been given a speaking event as well as an exhibit space in November at the Richmond, Virginia convention.
AE911truth.org is the website. Go visit it right now and support Richard Gage, Stephen Jones, Kevin Ryan, and others. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas. We'll be back after this. PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. Wide open calls this final hour, 866-582-9933. Any subject you'd like to call in on. Federal Reserve to gain power under new plan, because you know what's smart? Let's give more power to the agency that is the most corrupt, the most responsible for the financial collapse of the United States of America and the global economy as a whole. Especially, you know what a good time to give them more power is? when there's over 222 co-sponsors on a bill that would like to audit their criminal activity? That's a good time to give them more powers. When the audit the Fed bill is gaining momentum, when we want to see the paperwork, when we want to see what's actually happening behind closed doors as the minions of the elite hoard the money that they print and buy up the infrastructure. The Federal Reserve, already arguably the most powerful agency in the U.S. government. See, right off the bat, it's a lie. It's not an agency of the U.S. government. Oh, people will argue, oh, it's a quasi-agency. It is a private bank that prints its own money out of nothing. Zero, zilch. That's what it is. Watch America, freedom to fascism. Understand the truth. So there's a lie off the bat. The only thing that's telling you the truth is it's arguably the most powerful. It is powerful, but it's not an agency of the U.S. government. We'll get sweeping new authority to regulate any company whose failure could endanger the United States economy and markets under the Obama administration's regulatory overhaul plan. Again, this is an attempt for them to go after anybody that's not playing by the rules. This is total dictatorial powers in the new technopoly. That's what this is. The final plan, due to be released on Wednesday, that's tomorrow for those that don't know, which originally aimed to streamline. They love that word, streamlining. We're streamlining everything. Sustainability, streamlining, green. Oh, buzzwords. They're great. And consolidate banking and securities regulation in one or two agencies. Now is expected to sidestep most jurisdictional disputes and simply impose across-the-board standards to be applied by all financial regulators according to the administration and industry sources. So again, as the people wake up to the Federal Reserve, as more and more people understand that they need to protest the Fed, as we have over 222 co-sponsors on 1207, H.R. 1207, audit the Fed, that'll probably get thrown out. But again, we want it on the House floor. We want it at least to get voted on. We'd love to see it passed. I would love to see it get to the point where the president has to veto it and show his true, reptilian colors. And that doesn't mean I think he's a reptile. It means I think he's a monster. He's a very slick talker. He's willing to work for the scum of the earth. He's willing to be a pawn of the elite. The speech reader of the elite. I mean, that's what he is. He is the face of tyranny right now. Like I said, we're going, and I'm going to get into this story next, we're going from a period when the Hitler youth were blonde-haired and blue-eyed to the Obama youth and City Corps being, young men of color and, minorities. That's who they're targeting now to do the dirty work of their child Stasi force. And that's a reality. That's not something, I'm making up. That's what we're seeing in commercials, in pop culture. He is the new face of tyranny. When you have kids in military formation wearing red, white, and black saying they are change, watch out. Really, seriously, watch your back. We're going to come back to Pam, Lee, Steve, and more. It's 866-582-9933. Just unbelievable news. We're talking about the technopoly out here. How about robo-ferrets? We talked about the Pentagon-controlled beetles yesterday. Of course, the robo-fish, the big dogs. We talked about the ripsaw. We told you about these new bullets that have microchips are going to be guided by lasers today. Why not robo-ferrets? Back after this.